Today, we're going to dive into a really profound idea from the ancient Bhagavad Gita. But we're going to use a super simple analogy to get there, a movie theater. You'll see how this ancient text explains our own inner world in a way that feels, well, incredibly relevant, even now.
I mean, think about it. You're sitting there in the dark, and you are just completely sucked into the story on screen. You're so absorbed that the world outside, even the fact that you're sitting in a chair, it all just kind of fades away. And here's the wild part. Your emotions are 100% real. Your heart pounds during a chase scene, right? You feel actual sadness when a character suffers a loss. Your mind and your emotions are totally invested in what is literally just flickering light. For that moment, you've mistaken an illusion for reality. And then, what happens? The credits roll, and boom, the house lights come on. Just a second ago, in the dark, you were absorbed. Maybe you were anxious, maybe even distressed. But the second those lights come on, there's this instant shift. You're aware, you're peaceful, you're detached. That whole emotional roller coaster just grinds to a halt. So, here's the really crucial point. The story on the screen didn't change at all. What changed was your awareness. The light revealed the truth of your situation, that it was all just a movie, a projection, and with that single realization, peace is just instantly restored. So, what on earth does this have to do with ancient philosophy? Well, the Bhagavad Gita provides the exact framework for this lights-on moment. It does this by distinguishing between two fundamental aspects of reality, the eternal and the temporary. Let's take a look at this key verse. It draws a really clear line in the sand between two things. The non-existent, which is everything that's temporary and always changing, and the eternal, which is permanent and never changes. The text says that real understanding comes from seeing this fundamental difference. So here's how it all breaks down. The non-existent, the temporary stuff, that refers to our body and our mind. They're constantly changing, right? Just like the scenes in a movie. But the eternal, that refers to the soul, the self. It's the conscious observer that's permanent and unchanging. Just like you, the viewer, sitting there in the theater. So who are these seers of the truth? Well, the original Sanskrit term is tattva-darshibi, and it means way more than just seeing with your eyes. It means having insight. It's the ability to see through the temporary illusions, to perceive that eternal, unchanging reality that's underneath it all. It's about seeing the viewer, not just getting lost in the movie. Okay, so another verse takes this idea even deeper. It contrasts the world of someone who's lost in the movie with the world of an introspective sage. It suggests they're basically living in two completely different realities, all based on what they choose to pay attention to. Now, this is such a beautiful metaphor. It's saying that what most people consider life, the busy chase for material things and goals, is actually a state of sleep, or night for a wise person. And their state of inner awakening, well, that's like night to everyone else, because it's an internal reality that most people just can't see. So night, for the sage, is that constant chase for material happiness and trying to avoid any kind of distress. From their point of view, someone who's totally absorbed in this is basically dreaming. They're being tossed around by emotions, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, but ultimately they're asleep to who they really are. In contrast, day for the sage is the inner work. It's all about cultivating self-realization, staying alert to their true identity as the observer. They can experience all the world's ups and downs without getting all disturbed by them, just like someone watching a movie with the lights on. Okay, so this is all really fascinating, but how do we actually apply it? How do we learn to turn on the lights in our own mental movie theater? Now, this might be the most important takeaway of all. This whole philosophy isn't about escaping life or trying to stop the movie of our experiences. The goal is simply to shift our identification, to stop thinking we are the character on the screen, and instead realize we're the calm, steady observer who's just watching it all happen. So, how do we do that? Well, the text suggests a really simple but powerful practice to turn this knowledge into a lived reality. It's all about taking a few quiet moments for daily reflection, just to let this idea mature into real wisdom. Here's a great place to start. Just think about your day. Was there a tough conversation, a moment of anxiety, a flash of anger? What were the movie scenes that pulled you in so deep that you totally forgot you were the conscious viewer and instead became a distressed actor in the drama? And then here's the follow-up. In any of those moments, were you able to turn on the lights? Could you find even a brief moment of peace, not by changing the situation, but just by seeing the emotion for what it was, a temporary scene, instead of being completely swept away by it?
Ultimately, this whole practice leads to what the text calls the vision of the yogi, and it's a huge shift in identity. You start to identify less with all the temporary, changing things, your body, your thoughts, your emotions, and more with that eternal, unchanging self that's witnessing it all. This is the path to finding a really stable sense of peace, no matter what's playing on the screen. So the final question to just sit with is this. In your life, right now, are you completely lost in the movie, believing every single scene is your ultimate reality? Or do you know that you're in the theater, peacefully watching the show? That simple shift in awareness, well, that's the key.